As you already know, this new Formula 1 game, F125, is much better than F124. We already know this. We mentioned it over and over. And even though I personally am really enjoying it this year, that doesn't mean we are talking about a perfect game. Far from it. As we already said, there are things that need improvement. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. My first point, and in my opinion the most important one, that F125 needs to improve, is the AI battery management. If you are not familiar with that, I'm talking about in single-player races against the AI, of course, there are circuits where the AI has a certain straight line power advantage. It ends up giving the AI such an edge in some races that you sometimes can even counterattack. Even if you try and changing the setup to favor top speed, no way. Sometimes, no matter what you do, to counter the AI's edge, there's just no way to match it. And that straight line speed advantage can get really frustrating. I should clarify one thing. Unlike last year, when I was constantly saying the game was unplayable, I said that a lot, like DRS trends and the overall gameplay. This year is nothing like that. I mean, I'm enjoying the game, and the gameplay, in my opinion, is great. Like I said, it doesn't ruin the experience, but at times, it makes it more difficult. I mean, difficult to enjoy it, and it could be better. That's the key. I'm enjoying the races, sure, but they could be even better. So I think this is something Codemasters should focus on. And I say this because this isn't just a problem with F125. We've been dealing with it not only since last year, but in previous games too. I remember, for example, F122 in the Miami GP. This is not a new issue. So that gives all the more reason to fix it, because clearly the AI is gaining an unfair advantage. And let me add, it doesn't happen in every circuit. In Miami, I've noticed it a lot more than in pretty much any other track. There are tracks where I've had no problems at all. But without a doubt, this is something that needs improvement. Another thing I was definitely going to include in this video was the race starts. I mean, against the AI. But apparently in the last patch, the first thing they mention is that starts have been fixed. So we'll have to see how it works, but for now, we'll consider it solved. Secondly, customization and liveries. Several of you mentioned this to me, and I completely agree. I didn't go deep into it in my review, but when it comes to customization, while the My Team car customization improved a lot with sponsors and so on, there are still too many main issues. First, there are very few liveries. It's great that the customization system improved with the sponsor, yes, but if at the beginning we only have 2 or 3 cars to choose from, and the reality is that I've already played around 40 hours, reached level 36 of the podium paths, and I still have basically the same liveries as when I started, that's a problem. Even with the Iconic Edition, which gives you 2 or 3 special liveries, I still only have 4 or 5 in total. I think that's a flaw, but there are just too few liveries. I believe players should be rewarded. For example, I'm at level 35 of the podium pass, so by this point we should have unlocked a few liveries, or at least had the option to get more. We need more customization. And it bugs me because this wasn't a problem in the past. I remember a few years ago in F1 games, we had way more options, helmets, liveries, etc. But now we're getting fewer designs. And with so few available, you're forced to go to the store or rely on podium pass discounts to buy liveries. I think that's very bad. I think you should offer a few liveries for free, or at least make them unlockable through gameplay. I get the idea of play to earn rewards, and I'm okay with that, but at least give us the option to unlock them. What can't happen is you give almost nothing and then expect us to buy them. Come on, it's disrespectful to the player to offer so few. Another detail that bothers me is that your team logo doesn't appear on the car, on your car. This doesn't affect the gameplay, obviously, but if you're going to focus on customization, it's basic, ultra basic. That your team's logo is on the car, on the nose, like in almost every real F1 car, I don't get why it's not there, especially not automatically. It should be automatically placed. Damn it, it's your team's brand. And just to close out the customization topic, and I already mentioned this in the review, I won't go deep, but being able to design the team logo is something urgent. I've already said in my review, so I won't repeat myself. Another issue is bugs. Honestly, this year I've experienced way fewer bugs than in previous years, and I want to point that out. I know some people have bugs, and I'm not saying the game is bug-free. I've seen the clips. I'm not one of those people who, when others had bugs, would just say, oh, I haven't had any. No, I've seen them. But in general, there are fewer. Personally, I haven't had many, but I have to say I did encounter one the other day when I participated in a 100% online race in Canada, and it is the white smoke. I had all graphics on max, except for path tracing, and every time a driver looked up ahead of me, even just a bit, a huge cloud of white smoke appeared and completely blocked my vision. That's not okay. It made it incredibly hard to take corners properly. Apparently, in the last patch, they said they made the smoke less dense or something like that, and it's supposed to disappear faster. But they haven't removed it completely, and that's a problem. I mean, I shouldn't have to lower graphics settings or disable particles to avoid gameplay issues. That makes no sense, especially when you are playing at max settings. And finally, something very important for single-player users. AI difficulty balance. We have a problem this year. The AI is too easy. Now, let me explain. I know this won't affect a huge percentage of players, because most won't have problems even at max difficulty, but there's a smaller group of players, not even just pros, that are experiencing this. For example, I've encountered this issue. In my team mode, Monaco Grand Prix, I had a terrible car, and yet I was way above the car's expected performance. Normally, I'm finishing around P13, P15, sometimes barely scoring points, but in Monaco, suddenly I perform way above. Why? Because the AI underperforms on that circuit. I won the race in max difficulty. And you know, this might be fun now, with a bad car, but next season, once I've aggroed the car and it's actually competitive, it will be boring. If I'm already this dominant now, what it's going to be like later? I mean, and again, I'm not even a pro player. I usually play 106, 107, but I'm not pro player. I think it's a fixable problem. They did in the past, I think in F122 or F123, I don't remember, they increased the AI difficulty through a patch, so it can be done. There are more things that F125 needs to improve, like online mode, still pretty poor. The lack of 25% rank races is an issue. Not having 25 Formula 2 cars at launch is an issue, but I already mentioned those in my review. Today I wanted to focus on things I didn't go into detail about in the review. And of course, I encourage you to leave comments in case I missed something, which I probably did. Things that can be improved for this game through updates or even for next year's F126. But that's a topic for another day. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you like it. Take care and see you in the next time.